Today, Hollywood is synonymous with film stars and movie legends. The majority of the film production companies have their roots in Hollywood, and the Hollywood Walk of Fame has over 2,750 stars. Hollywood has become so entwined with the film industry that the Merriam-Webster dictionary defines Hollywood as of or characteristic of people in the American motion picture industry. But how did this Los Angeles neighborhood become a movie-making hub? Keep watching as we explore the history of Tinseltown. Before the arrival of the Europeans, the area that would become Hollywood and Los Angeles was occupied by the Chumash and Tongva tribes, who lived in villages across the region with relative stability. The first Europeans to arrive in the area were the Spanish in 1542, but they didn't establish a permanent settlement there until the mid to late 18th century. Los Angeles was founded as a farming community in 1781 by a Spanish soldier named Felipe de Nieve Padilla. The original name of the settlement is debated, but it is generally accepted to have been first called El Pueblo de la Reina de Los Angeles, the village of the Queen of the Angels. The first house to be built in the area that would become Hollywood was a 3-room building made from earth and organic material. The home, called an adobe building, was constructed in 1853 by Don Tomas Urquidez in a sycamore grove near modern-day Outpost Drive and Hillside Avenue. The land is reported to have been a former Native American burial site. At the property, the first performances in Hollywood came in the form of an annual staging of a Mexican nativity play called Los Pastores. At some point, the property was acquired by American politician General Harrison Gray Otis. Otis owned the Los Angeles Times and built a clubhouse on the property he named the Outpost. The next landowner to purchase property in the area was real estate agent and prohibitionist Harvey Wilcox. In 1887, Wilcox and his wife, both religious idealists, decided to build a community where alcohol, gambling, and prostitution were forbidden, and religion was the foundation of the community. Supposedly, this is when Hollywood got its name. When Wilcox's wife, Daida, overheard the title, she thought it was the perfect moniker for their religious utopia, and she dubbed the fledgling community Hollywood. However, there are many versions of how Hollywood got its name, including people mistaking the native toyon bush for holly, H.K. Whitley mishearing a foreign laborer saying they were hauling wood and likened the connection to the sacred and religious aspects of holly, or an Irish immigrant named Matthew Gerke calling the town Hollywood in honor of his hometown of Hollywood in County Wicklow, Ireland. As the first time the area is referenced as Hollywood was on the Wicklow's land deed in 1887, it seems likely that they came up with the name, although how and why they named it thus is lost to history. Regardless of Wilcox's contribution to the name, the next property developer on the scene has been dubbed the father of Hollywood. H.J. Whitley owned a jewelry store in Los Angeles and envisioned the emerging town of Hollywood as a thriving suburb of Los Angeles. Soon, Whitley had transformed Hollywood into a residential area for the wealthier members of Los Angeles society. By the start of the 20th century, Whitley had supplied the new suburb with gas, electric, and telephone lines. In 1910, the town of Hollywood merged with Los Angeles in order to benefit from its water supply and sewer system. Hollywood's first brush with the silver screen came in 1908 when a short film entitled The Count of Monte Cristo was finished in the area. The first film to be shot entirely in the small village of Hollywood was D.W. Griffith's one-reel film In Old California in 1910. Soon, independent filmmakers were flocking to Hollywood to make the most of the cheap land, year-round warm weather, and varied scenery. However, there was another factor that drove filmmakers to California, and that was Thomas Edison. In 1886, a French artist and inventor named Louis Le Prince developed a 16-lens camera for the purpose of capturing moving pictures and applied for an American patent on his idea. In 1888, Le Prince filmed a short silent movie of people walking in Roundhay Garden and received an American and British patent on his design. Meanwhile, in America, inventor Thomas Edison began to draw up plans for a similar device. In 1890, Le Prince planned to tour America with his invention before patenting it. Before he could embark on his journey, Le Prince mysteriously disappeared in September of that year. In a completely unrelated series of events, although some say Edison had a hand in Le Prince's disappearance, Edison patented the kinetograph camera and kinetoscope viewer on August 24, 1891. Edison was the sole owner of the patent. However, he had developed the devices with the help of his assistant, William Kennedy Dixon. The moving picture camera and viewer was supposed to help promote Edison's phonograph, but they found synchronizing the sound to the picture more challenging than anticipated. Instead, they focused on silent movies. In 1893, Edison opened America's first ever movie studio, Black Maria in West Orange, New Jersey, and began producing silent movies. Unsurprisingly, the popularity of these moving pictures prompted competition. In order to control who was able to make a profit out of this new form of entertainment, Edison formed the Edison Trust, formerly known as the Motion Picture Patents Company, which was an alliance with other major patent holders, including Dixon's Company, Biograph, and the biggest producer of raw film, Eastman Kodak. Edison had the monopoly for motion pictures on the East Coast, and any independent film studios could expect to be bombarded with copyright infringement laws if they dared to make a film. Alongside the legal harassment, the MPPC was said to have hired thugs and mobsters to disrupt unlicensed productions. The independent studios soon devised a way to circumvent Edison and his endless lawsuits. They moved to the West Coast, and Hollywood seemed to be an ideal location. Edison found it harder to file and pursue lawsuits cross-country, and the filmmakers found that judges in Southern California didn't always side with Edison. Although they were not completely free of the threat from the MPPC, it was enough to entice a large number of independent movie companies to the area. By 1911, Hollywood's first movie studio, Nestor Studios, was opened on Sunset Boulevard. Before long, around 20 film production companies were making the most of the year-round filming opportunities and California's varied terrain. In 1914, one of the first feature-length films made in Hollywood was produced, a silent western called The Squaw Man. By 1915, Hollywood had become synonymous with the independent movie scene, and the center of the film industry had moved from West Orange, New Jersey to Hollywood, California. Edison and the MPPC lost their monopoly of the film industry when, in 1915, a court issued the Sherman Antitrust Act that ruled that a patentee may simply enforce his right to exclude infringement, but he must not use his patent as a weapon to disable a rival contestant or to drive him from the field. To add a final nail into the MPPC coffin, while Hollywood film companies were producing feature-length movies and focusing on catapulting their performers into stardom, the MPPC stuck to one-reel shorts and failed to grow with the times. Hollywood, on the other hand, quickly adapted to the needs of the blossoming industry and laid the foundations for the rise of the Hollywood studio system. The free and independent nature of the Hollywood movie scene didn't last long, and soon a handful of studios gained a monopoly of the movie industry from film's new throne in Hollywood. These studios began to bask in the so-called Golden Age of Hollywood. Some scholars cite the horrendously racist 1915 film The Birth of a Nation as the start of the Golden Age, as the film enjoyed huge financial success, remaining one of the highest-grossing films ever made when the profit is adjusted for inflation. However, most agree that Hollywood's true peak was in the late 1920s and the 1930s, starting around 1927 with the first talkie to be produced, The Jazz Singer. The massive success of the Hollywood movie scene owes a lot to the economic downturn of the 1930s. Americans flocked to movie theaters for entertainment and news, as the price of a theater ticket was far cheaper than any other forms of live entertainment. It is estimated that between 60 and 80 million Americans attended movie theaters each week during the Depression. More films were made in the 1920s and 1930s than in any other decade since. The Golden Age of Hollywood is thought to have ended in the mid-1960s. Film stars from the Golden Age of Hollywood are still household names today, and actors such as Marilyn Monroe, Charlie Chaplin, Cary Grant, Grace Kelly, Clark Gable, and Lauren Bacall have become legends in their own right. But it was the Hollywood studios that truly endured, and 5 major studios dominated the movie scene during the Golden Age of Hollywood. Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, also known as MGM, was the biggest studio, churning out hits and amassing a roster of talent under what it called its star system. The juggernaut began to form in 1924 when Metro Pictures merged with Goldwyn Pictures and Louis B. Mayer Pictures. At its peak, the company was shooting 16 to 18 films simultaneously on its 6 lots, using over 40 cameras and 60 sound machines. MGM had complete control over its stars and produced many famous and critically acclaimed films, including Mutiny on the Bounty, The Wizard of Oz, Gone with the Wind, and Singing in the Rain. MGM's biggest rival was 20th Century Fox. This merger happened in 1935, long after William Fox lost his company, Fox Film Corporation, in a hostile takeover. Fox Films merged with 20th Century Films, giving us classics such as Rawhide, White Fang, and Miracle on 34th Street. Other major studios included Warner Brothers, which had been the studio behind The Jazz Singer, Paramount Pictures, which introduced the idea of block booking, where theaters were forced to purchase licenses for multiple films at once, and RKO Radio Pictures, which gave us classics like Citizen Kane, King Kong, and Disney's Folly, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, the first feature-length animated film. The end of the golden age of Hollywood is debated, but most agree that Hollywood's influence had waned by the 1960s. One of the reasons for the decline was the rise in popularity of television. As people could access shows, news, and sports from their homes, movies and movie theaters no longer dominated the entertainment industry. Hollywood was also brought down by the very laws that helped it get its big break. The Sherman Antitrust Act, which helped end Edison's monopoly of the movie industry, was now used against the major Hollywood corporations. After the court case, studios could no longer own movie theaters that only showed their films. As it did in the early 1900s, this ruling once again allowed the rise of independent and art house productions in theaters. Do you have a favorite Hollywood star, film, or anecdote? Let us know in the comments below. How would you like to get a deeper understanding of history, impress your friends, and predict the future more accurately based on past events? If this sounds like something you might be into, then check out the brand new Captivating History Book Club by clicking the first link in the description. To learn more about history, check out our Captivating History book series. It's available as ebooks, paperbacks, and audiobooks. Also, grab your free Mythology Bundle ebook while it's still available. All links are in the description. If you found the video captivating, please hit the like button and subscribe for more videos like this.